Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Tyler from Nintendo News Network, and today I'm going to be talking about all the unused content from Super Mario Bros. 2. Which Super Mario Bros. 2, you may ask yourself? The Japanese lost levels or the American reskin of Doki Doki Panic? Yes. To get things started, let's start with the Japanese version of Super Mario Bros. 2, dubbed The Lost Levels in all Western countries. This game was released under the name Super Mario Bros. 2 in Japan on the Famicom Disk System, and it is seen by many as just a ROM hack of the original Super Mario Bros. Thus, a lot of the content was recycled from the original Super Mario Bros., and not a lot of unique unused content can be found within this game. Found within the Mario Bros. 2 graphics file, there are two unused tiles, one showing a cactus that went completely unused, and another showing a more natural-looking ground tile, similar to that found within the first Super Mario Bros. The original game manual shows screenshots of this older tile being used, so it is probably changed to the brighter variant very late in the development for reasons unknown. In the Super Mario All-Stars version of the game, there is a bit more of unused content, including a title screen that more closely resembles the original Famicom Disk System title screen, complete with stars showing how many times a person has beaten World 8-4. And most of the text that is shown during the original Famicom version of the game is missing in the All-Star version. Of course, the game that Americans got as Super Mario Bros. 2 was just a reskinned version of the Japanese Nintendo game Doki Doki Panic, and I'm sure most of you know that by now. However, something that most people don't know is that Doki Doki itself started out as a proposed Mario game. During the game's development, Miyamoto thought that the first Mario game had conquered vertical scrolling well. He wanted the next game of the series to do the same with the opposite. This game was seen as a much departure from the original Mario, and the Lost Levels was made instead. But a lot of the ideas from the scrolling canceled game was worked into Doki. Now, a prototype of the port that Nintendo of America was working on was actually found and sold on eBay, and it shows some major differences that the game was going to have during the porting process. Some of the major differences include the characters not having any kind of whites in their eyes. The idle Phanto sprite was not implemented. A big detail about the prototype is the cartridge that the prototype is housed on, and this cartridge contains an MMC1 mapper chip, a configuration that was commonly used with a Famicom Disk System to cartridge conversions seen within the West. But the final version of the game's hardware was upgraded to what's called an MMC3 chip. This allowed for greater variety in the graphics and animations for objects that were previously static. This also improved load times before levels. However, the cartridge itself was also planned to have a battery save, but because of the upgrade from the MMC1 to the MMC3 mapper chip, the price of the cartridge had already gone up. Producing a cartridge with both an MMC3 mapper chip and a battery-backed save back in 1987 was just not a cost-effective way of producing a game on this level. In the prototype of the game, there are actually two unused songs, one being for all underground and cave parts of the game, which is an original remix of the Super Mario Bros. Underground theme, complete with drums. This version is very similar to that which would be found later in Super Mario Bros. 3. The other unused song is a variant on the Starman theme, complete with noise-based drums, similar to that seen with the original Super Mario Bros. The title screen and all following story screens seen when you first turn on the game all follow this weird yellow and reddish palette, and they all appear to have a slightly altered story. The world introduction screen also lacks the images of the levels that would later be found in the final game, and the bonus screen is very similar to that found in Doki, which is very bland and very green. And some other facts about the full released retail version of the game include that all animations of everything actually have 8 frames of animation. However, due to a small bug within the game's code, only the first 7 frames of animation are played during the loop. Lastly, there is money left over within the game's coding. Apparently, at one point in the game's development, when the player completes the game, they were to be awarded fake money for the number of times the player died during the game. This, of course, was later changed to points to be able to make the Nintendo of America game seem to have absolutely nothing to do with what could be considered gambling. This is somewhat ironic, however, as the bonus game is just a straight-up slot machine. But hey, it was the 80s. I guess people were crazy back then. But anyways, that was all the unused and unreleased content I could find for both versions of Super Mario Bros. 2. If you like this video, please like, favorite, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. It really helps me out. Thanks for watching, guys. As you know, I'm Tyler McVicker. This is Nintendo News Network. Why don't you go check out my Twitch page, link is down in the description. I will be playing the complete Super Mario Bros. 2, or at least I'll try. I'm not that good. Thanks for watching, guys. Adios.